mentioned this once in an earlier video, and barely anyone watched it. But the one comment I got was basically, get a life, buttercup, which honestly, this idea hasn't left me alone. And it deserves a full conversation, I think. So everyone talks about losing the weight, the plan, the discipline, the before and after. That's the whole story we tell ourselves. Get there, arrive, and everything gets better. But nobody talks about what happens to your brain when the noise actually goes quiet. Some people lose the weight and feel amazing, free, light, ready. And some people lose the weight and feel strangely lost, like something is missing that they can't quite name. And if you've ever been in that second group, or if you're afraid you might be, stay with me. And if we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Dawn. Welcome to Beyond Optimal. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to reframe the whole journey. I've lost 106 pounds, and here's something I almost never hear anyone say out loud. When the weight loss moved to the sidelines, when the food and tracking and planning stopped running my life, I didn't feel free right away. I felt underutilized. My brain has spent years organized around a problem. Food, weight, control, planning. And it wasn't just the food itself. For years, I consumed nothing but weight loss content. This podcast, YouTube channels, research. And even when it was exhausting, it gave my brain a job, a structure, a reason to wake up and go. Okay, what are we fixing today? When that stopped being the main event, something shifted. Suddenly, I was listening to relationship podcasts, learning about AI, building YouTube channels, co-writing a book with my daughter. Skills and interests that had been on the back burner for years just had room. If you've ever said, I'll focus on that when I've lost the weight, the thing you keep putting off, that's your brain already knowing it needs somewhere to go next. But here's the thing about a brain like mine, and if you're a little ADHD, you're going to relate to this. Idle is not really an option. I don't do well with nothing. I do well with intention. So the second one big thing moved to the sidelines, my brain immediately went looking for the next to build. Struggle organizes your life. Even when it's painful, even when you hate it, it gives you focus, it gives you urgency, it gives you identity. When that struggle resolves, it doesn't just leave a gap. It leaves a nervous system that doesn't know what to do to regulate anymore. This is exactly what I mean when I talk about wiring. Your brain built an entire operating system around managing this problem. Every thought pattern, every habit, every coping mechanism wired in around this one central challenge. And when that challenge resolves, the wiring doesn't automatically update. This is what happens. People lose significant weight and then almost unconsciously find a new problem to organize around, a new struggle, a new thing to fix. Not because they're self-sabotaging, but because their nervous system still needs something to do. The wiring is still running. It just needs a new job. Pause here and ask yourself, what have you been using your weight loss journey to organize around? The planning, the research, the starting over on Monday? What is it actually giving you? Urgency, identity, purpose? There's no wrong answer, just notice it. I also want to connect this to something I talked about in my last video. We talked about GLP-1, the hormone your gut makes that's supposed to quiet food noise. And one of the things Dr. William Seeds noticed in his patients was that when the food noise finally went quiet, they didn't just lose weight, they suddenly had the mental space they hadn't had in years. And some of them felt amazing, and some of them felt totally untethered. Both reactions make complete sense. Because relief is not the same thing as direction. Quieting the noise is step one. Knowing what to build in the silence, that's the part no one gives you a roadmap for. For me, once the weight loss stopped needing me, I didn't feel empty. I felt like an engine running with nowhere to go. And here's something else no one really talks about. Even after losing 106 pounds, I'd look at myself in the mirror and still not quite believe what I was seeing. I'd look at my legs and think, are those really thin? Because your brain doesn't quite update as fast as your body does. You can lose the weight and still carry the old image of yourself around for a long time. Your body changes before your identity does. And that gap, that's a wiring thing too. So I did what my brain knows how to do. I started building YouTube channels, systems, books, plans that absolutely did not need to be mapped out at midnight, but got mapped out anyways. Not to replace food, not to distract myself, but because I figured something out about how I'm wired. I don't do well with nothing. I do well with attention. And that distinction between nothing and intention is everything. The goal is to get deliberate about what your energy builds next. Your brain is going to organize around something. The question is whether you choose it or whether it chooses for you. Whether you're just starting your journey or halfway through it or already on the other side, wondering why the quiet feels strange. When one big problem stops running your life, you're not done. You're freed up, and a freed up nervous system without direction will find its own direction. And it won't always choose wisely. This is not a willpower problem. This is not a discipline problem. This is a wiring problem. And wiring can be redirected. The people who navigate this transition well aren't the ones who white-knuckle their way through the quiet. They're the ones who got intentional about what came next before the silence arrived. Silence isn't the goal, direction is. If this resonated, if you just realized the problem might be deeper than food, don't leave it there. Go map your pattern while it's fresh. The Rewire and Reset Guide walks you through exactly this. Link is in the description. Don't let this be another thing you meant to do. And I'll see you in the next one.